Hello everyone, my name is Marvin and I like every type of art. Today I'm turning this Playmobil figure into a cool pirate diorama. First off, I'm going to remove the hair and the green vest, both of which don't really scream pirate. Next I reshape the head a bit using some clay and add a few strands of hair made from small pieces of clay. Just a few will do, since our figure is about to get a pirate head. Because, let's face it, what's a pirate without his head? Of course, we need a name for our pirate. Let's call him Blackbeard. I've added all the hair, I roll out some clay and use my hobby knife to cut out one half of the head. Then I cut the second half, wrap both pieces around Blackbeard's head and blend them together. I filled in the center of the head with more clay and smoothed it out. Obviously, no pirate head is complete without a skull. Without a skull, it's just a regular head, right? So I add small clay ball to the front of the head and sculpt it into a skull. I use my small ball stylus to carve out the eyes and teeth. Then I add more clay and sculpt the classic crossbones to finish off the pirate emblem. Finally, I'm going to file down the plastic tabs on the sweatshirt. They'd get in the way of the new pirate outfit Blackbeard's going to get. After sanding down both of Blackbeard's arms a little, it's time for a pirate to get dressed. First up, the jacket. I've rolled out some clay nice and flat again and I'm wrapping it around Blackbeard from the back to the front. To do this, I make a small cut at the shoulders. After that, I blend the jacket at the back and front. Next, I cut the front of the jacket open with my hobby knife and start shaping it to fit. Alright, now it's time for a quick backstory on Blackbeard. Blackbeard was once a fierce pirate, but he didn't always carry that name. He started as a young captain on a merchant ship. One day, after a fierce battle with pirates, he lost everything. His crew, his ship, and nearly his life. Instead of giving up, he vowed revenge. He built a new ship and gathered a crew of misfits and outcasts, setting out to hunt down the very pirates who had defeated him. He took on the name Blackbeard, inspired by his yet black beard, which he never trimmed. Whenever he boarded an enemy ship, survivors would swear that his beard whipped in the wind, like the sails of a cursed vessel. After sculpting Blackbeard's jacket, I've done the same for his pants and boots, and now I'm working on his shirt, definitely a classic pirate outfit. They always seem to have the same look, a hat on top, a ruffled shirt, a leather belt, fabric pants, stylish boots and a nice coat that seems better days. Next I'm sculpting the collar of the jacket. I've cut out some pieces off camera and now blending them into the jacket using my spoon tool. To give the clothing a nice texture instead of smooth surface, I'm pressing a cotton cloth gently onto Blackbeard's outfit. This adds a lovely natural grain. Now it's time for Blackbeard to finally get his Blackbeard. Well, not quite yet. It's still just a regular bird for now. I'm shaping a long beautiful bird from clay and attaching it to his chin. With my sculpting tools I'm defining individual hairs to give it a nice surface. But an extremely long goat bird isn't quite right without a well-shaped mustache, so I'm rolling a small pieces of clay under his nose. Wait a minute. Blackbeard doesn't have a nose. He's a noseless pirate, thanks to Playmobil. Using my sculpting tools, I'm shaping the mustache until it all comes together beautiful. Once again, I'm adding individual hairs for texture. Alright, we're done with Blackbeard for now. Next up, I'm building his treasure chest. I start by rolling out some clay and cutting 4 pieces for the walls of the chest. I lay them out side by side and use my sculpting tools to add a wood grain texture to the surface. Then I glue the walls together with some super glue. I was pretty sure I filmed the entire process, but my camera definitely disagrees. At least I still have the lid, but you will see that later. Now I grab some trusty aluminium foil, roll it up and shape it into a sausage. Then I rub the foil in clay and smooth the surface by rolling it. After that I use my sculpting tools to shape the sections of the palm tree trunk. I start by roughly dividing the trunk and then work on detailing the surface. Finally, I add a wood grain texture to the trunk with my sculpting tools. Now it's time to paint all the thing we crafted. Let's start with Blackbeard. I've already primed all the parts in black and white off camera, of course. So enjoy this moment as I paint Blackbeard. First his head gets a coat of brown, then I paint his jacket with the same brown color. I think this shade fits a pirate outfit perfectly. The skull on his head is painted white, and afterward I go over it with a brown wash to make the darker color settle into all the crevices, giving the skull a more realistic aged look. It also adds more depth to the overall pieces. Next our field pirate gets his eyes. I apply a bit of paint to my small ball stylus and add the eyes. Then I repeat the process with green for the iris, followed by 2 tiny black dots for the pupils. His beard gets more texture through dry brushing with a light grey color. His shirt is painted white, the belt buckle in silver, and of course the belt itself in a brown tone to look like leather. The pants get the same color. I've added different shades of color across the surface and blend them together, which created a nice texture variation and make everything look more lively. Next I paint the treasure chest. It gets a brown base coat followed by some dry brushing to highlight the wood texture. The skull, just like on Blackbeard's head, is painted white. Finally I paint the palm tree trunk and dry brush that too. Now of course we're still missing the palm leaves. At first I tried cutting them from clay, but that turned out to be much trickier than expected. The leaves are shaped like those from a fawn palm, which often grows in the jungle, and cutting them with my hobby knife was a bit tricky. Then I thought, hey, I have a plotter. So I quickly designed a palm leaf on my computer, loaded into my Cricut Maker Dry and had the plotter cut them out for me. Afterward I painted the leaves green and attached them to the palm tree trunk with some UV resin. At this point the tree still looks a bit sparse, but I cut out more leaves off camera and attached those too. You see the final result in a moment. Now we just need the base for our pirate diorama. I placed a cork coaster on a piece of XPS foam, traced a circle and cut it out with my hobby knife. Then I smoothed the edge with a file. Off camera I used polymer clay to sculpt the terrain, a kind of beach, which I then glued to the base. Next I grabbed some wood glue, applied it to the surface and spread it out with a brush. Since I didn't have sand, I used salt instead to give the base a sandy texture by sprinkling it over the entire surface. Once everything was dry I primed the base in black, and after that I paint the sandy beige tone and let it dry again. Next I dry brush the sandy surface with a lighter color to make the texture look more realistic and sandy. We're slowly getting to the finish line, but what would a pirate diorama be without water? We've got an island, a palm tree, a treasure chest, but we need the ocean. So I mix up some resin and add a few drops of blue paint. It turned out to be a bit too much for my taste, making the water look more cartoonish. However, that actually fits well with the style of the diorama, considering the Playmobil figure. I rub the base with some tape, pour in the resin and use a lighter to pop the bubbles on the surface. Then I press the treasure chest into the resin. Once everything is cured, I clean up the edges with my hobby knife. Next I add some glue around the outer edge of the diorama and attach a strip of cardboard to give it a clean polisher border. I paint the sides black and apply some wood glue to the water surface, spreading it with my airbrush. After it hardens, it gives the water a nice wavy texture. Finally I add some white paint where the water hits the chest and the shoreline. And at last I position all the pieces in their place. And now for you, the final reveal. That's it for the video. The Blackbeard diorama is complete. A big thank you to everyone who stuck around until the end. I'd really appreciate your support, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss any future videos. I sign off in fitting sailor's term. May your anchor hold always steady.